Hello everybody. Today I'm going to start a series of kind of podcasts which will be dealing with our trip to Japan, which we took in October 2024. What I'm going to start off with today is I'm just going to start off with a couple of suggestions, things we would deem to be essential for your trip, things we believe would definitely enrich your experience, some general pieces of information that you might find useful. And then I will close this podcast, this first in hopefully a series of several. And then I will start talking about different places we have visited over the course of 3.5 weeks. I will also tell you a little bit about how we went about planning our trip, what we did up front, what we did when we were there on the ground. And hopefully you will enjoy this. I'm going to add photographs and little videos that we shot during our stay there. And they are all non-copyright, i.e. we took them ourselves, so the copyright rests with us entirely. I've got my cup of coffee because life without coffee is possible, although it would be meaningless. And I've got a couple of notes that I jotted down. And so let's get started. There are really only 3 things which we would consider to be essential that you have when you go there or that you acquire when you hit the ground. First of all, a smartphone. Because you can use it as your map. It will provide you with all of the information you need for public transport. It will tell you which trains to take, which platforms your train will leave from. Any type of public transport has been maintained in Google Maps, down to even the exit which you have to take, and also information on how to use the train, which car to go into to make it most easily to your destination. There's also an app called City Mapper, which I believe does do Tokyo. I'm not sure if it does any of the other cities in Japan, and I haven't got it on my phone, but my partner in crime does. And so we would have used that every so often as well, but mostly we were relying on our smartphone and Google Maps. You can also use your smartphone for a translation device, which is really handy because a lot of the signage that you will see, or a lot of information, things you will read on shrines, for example, will of course be in Japanese only. And if you've got your smartphone with you, you can download the Japanese language pack even upfront so that you can use it offline to do your translations for you. And of course, if you are like me and have had a falling out with your normal camera, you can use it as your camera. And any of the pictures that I will be showing in this vlog that I did myself or took myself are actually pictures I took with my smartphone. We also recommend that you get a portable internet connection, as it were. It's a little box that you can get. So we use Ninja Wi-Fi. Again, no affiliation or anything. We use Ninja Wi-Fi. They are excellent. It works perfectly. We picked it up at Haneda Airport, and it's a little box plus a power bank plus a charging cable, and it will allow you to connect to 4G across Japan. And I really mean across Japan. We even had reception at Mount Fuji 5th station. So it is perfect. The only time that we didn't have any internet connection was when we were taking the Shinkansen and going through tunnels, which, you know, would not be a problem at all. And we paid around about 80 euros, 85 euros, and it's really internet in a box. You can also check out eSIMs. eSIMs are basically electric SIMs that you can download onto your mobile phone, which would also give you internet connection, but also the ability to call to make phone calls, which the Wi-Fi won't let you do. However, we found out that the eSIMs didn't work for our phones because our phones are locked in with our providers. And also one other downside of an eSIM is that, of course, you can only connect your phone to it. So with the portable Wi-Fi, of course, you can also connect your tablet or whatever other devices you may have to go online. Having said this, of course, I don't think that there are any Japanese hotels that don't offer Wi-Fi at this stage. We had Wi-Fi in all of our rooms. However, sometimes it was a bit sketchy. So we would definitely recommend getting portable internet. And lastly, our third recommendation is a Suica card. Now, a Suica card is a mix between a public transport prepaid card like the Oyster card or the Leap card in Britain and Ireland respectively, but you can also use it for shopping. So how this works is you get the card, and we actually bought it upfront in Germany. We had it sent to our German address because usually you can also get it in Japan, but they had issues with getting the chips that you need for the cards. So cards were in short supply, so we decided to play it safe, and we ordered them from Germany through a website, and we got it within 2 days. And the cards are basically then activated by charging them. Ours lasted, I want to say, a month, and then anything above the month would have been forfeit. So once the money is on the card, you can't get it out, so you need to spend it. But basically, since we were there for 3.5 weeks, a month was well enough. You can use it for shopping, so you can take it to combinis like 7-Eleven, but also other stores, Starbucks, etc. Accept these types of IC cards, as they call them, for payment. And you can also use them for any type of public transport except for the Shinkansen. There are some that say that Shinkansen of JR East accept Suica cards for non-reserved seats, but I couldn't really corroborate this. And we were also using JR West, so we don't know, but definitely for the public transport in all of the cities, for the normal trains using JR Railway, you can use those, and the cards are really, really convenient, because basically when you go down onto a public transport platform, for example, you just swipe through, and then when you get off the train, you swipe it again, and basically you will only be paying for the actual number of stations that you have traveled. You can also use it in buses and trams. We used it in tram and bus services in Hiroshima, and it worked really well. The way you charge it is you have to have cash for this. You cannot actually use your MasterCard or Euro card or whatever, Visa card to charge it. But basically you first have to withdraw money. Then you have to go to a 7-Eleven or to a train station or underground station where you find those terminals where you can then put in cash and then charge your card. I know that this sounds a bit weird, but really there is no way to charge them cashless. So that's one thing to remember. 3 things we believe will enrich your experience are the following. Number 1, do use public transport to get around. Public transport is clean, it's efficient, it's excellent value for money, and it is safe. And above all, it is punctual. If a train is 1 minute late, they will start apologizing to you. And 1 minute on a 4-hour, 45-minute journey from Tokyo to Hiroshima by Shinkansen, traveling over 800 kilometers is nothing, except if you're JR Rail, in which case 1 minute delay will be a terrible shame for you. So basically, I have traveled on trains and buses across Europe. I know German railway stations really well. I know Irish railway stations really well. I know some British railway stations really well. And I know some French railway stations really well. And I can tell you, they all have one thing in common. They are places where you don't want to hang out. at, where especially as a woman you will feel very unsafe. They are usually dirty, very unclean, and basically dimly lit, and places where you don't want to spend your time. Japanese stations, especially in the big cities like the main stations in Tokyo, Hiroshima, and Kyoto, are completely different. I would consider them to be more like shopping malls and food malls with railway connections attached to them. You could spend a whole day in there and basically start with breakfast, then do a long shopping spree, then have lunch, do another long shopping spree, and then have dinner, and then go back to your hotel. They are open usually from 6 o'clock. The first shops will start opening, where you can get your breakfast, etc. And you can buy almost anything there. You can buy clothes, cosmetics, books, jewelry. They are really like big shopping malls. And the food courts are amazing. And what is most important is prices are absolutely competitive. There is no such thing as putting on an additional 3, 4, 5, 600 yen, which would be round about €4, 4 or 5 US dollars, just because you're buying your normal stuff in a convenience store at a station as opposed to buying it somewhere in a more residential area. Prices are the same. There is no such thing as a markup for the fact that you're buying at a station. It is unbelievable. They are beautifully lit. There is no dirt there. They are places where you want to hang out. So you can go there even when you're on your own traveling as a single female traveler. You will be safe. We also recommend that if possible, you travel on a Shinkansen. First of all, the bullet trains are famous for their speed. Like I said, we traveled at the longest distance in one go from Tokyo to Hiroshima on our third day on arriving. So basically on the morning of the third day, we took the Shinkansen and traveled over 800 kilometers in 4 hours and 40 minutes, which is incredible. And also this is one of the things that you have to bear in mind. It is not expensive either. We paid less than 300 euros for 2 people traveling on the Shinkansen. So that's about 320, 330 US dollars, which is nothing for the service that you get. We also recommend that you try and walk around in the cities. Both Hiroshima, Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo are extremely walkable. Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo also have a metro system. There are also buses in Hiroshima. In Hiroshima, you have the tram. So if you want to, you can also use public transport. But we found that actually walking around in the cities meant that we discovered things that we hadn't even seen mentioned anywhere. So I remember we were on our way in Tokyo going from one place to another, and we ended up in front of a clock, a huge clock that had been designed by the director of many Ghibli films. His name escapes me, but he's famous for example, Howl's Moving Castle. And he had designed this incredible clock, which I would say is easily 5 meters long and maybe 2 meters high. And it's really great. I hope that I will be able to show you some footage, which I didn't shoot, but my partner in crime did. And we would never have discovered this if we hadn't walked around. When we were in Nara, which is a place that I will talk about at length in a later episode, we went for a walk, obviously, because we just walked everywhere. And we came across this completely secluded garden, which was free of charge to go into. It was a beautiful Japanese garden with a tea house. And we would never have discovered it if we'd just taken a bus from Nara station to the main shrine. So of course, how far you can walk depends on your personal fitness. We are not the fittest of people, but we basically spent at least 10 kilometers on our feet, sometimes up to 17. And we had a great time, and we can really recommend it. And it is also safe. This is one thing that you will notice. Japan is one of the safest destinations to travel to, so you don't have to be afraid when you're walking around, even in the evening. We also recommend that you try to view the cities by night, because the cities are lit up. I've never seen anything like it. Also, I've never been to the United States. I've been told that possibly Times Square is as lit up as Shibuya, but since I've never been there, I have no way of verifying this or of comparing it to anything. But Tokyo and Kyoto especially, they sparkle at night. It is unbelievable. They have both got very high towers that you can go onto. So one is the Skytree in Tokyo, the other one is Kyoto Tower. You can also go there. They've got viewing platforms. And we viewed Tokyo from the Skytree at night, and it's an unbelievable sight to behold. And we can really recommend it. Walking around Kyoto at night, you will see very, very illuminated shrines and temples, and it just looks amazing. Also, of course, the shops are lit up, and also public buildings are lit up. We came across a public building of some kind of, I don't know what it was. Was it the Ministry of Transport or something in Tokyo? And they have kind of like a laser show illuminating this now empty building, because it was nighttime, with all kinds of visual art, laser art. It was incredible to behold. And also, my personal recommendation is, if you make it to Tokyo and you choose to go up the Skytree, which is basically a very high tower, which they built in 2011, there was this huge earthquake which destroyed parts of Tokyo. And so in 2012, they decided, hey, we're going to basically clean up and do something else with whatever this place used to be. And we're going to build this Skytree plus a shopping mall food court thing around it, which is called Skytree City. And it took them a year. It's incredible. It took them a year only. And then everything was ready and finished. And you could go up that incredible viewing platform. And we went there at night after dark. And when I say at night, basically we were there in October. So basically the sun was gone by 5 o'clock in the evening, and it was completely dark by 5 p.m. So it felt like it was a lot later, although it was only 5 p.m. So we went up there in the evening, I want to say at about 6:30. So it meant that we didn't have to queue very long. And we could see all of Tokyo, a 360-degree view of Tokyo at night, and it's incredible. And we also learned that from the Skytree you can see Greater Tokyo, and that's 37 million people. By comparison, Germany has about 80 million people, so almost half of Germany resides in the Greater Tokyo area. That was very impressive. So, like I said, try to view the cities at night. A lot of the shrines in Kyoto and temples are lit up, in Tokyo as well, and it looks magnificent. A couple of things you might find useful to know, which will bring me to the end of this session. If you suffer from hay fever or problems with your sinuses, do bring your own tissues, because tissues in Japan are so thin and see-through that they are hardly usable. Since the attack on the Tokyo Underground in 1995, when Aum Shinrikyo released sarin into the Tokyo Underground and killed several people, all the dustbins have been dismantled. There are no dustbins or trash cans almost anywhere. So basically, bring plenty of plastic bags that you can put in your backpack, and then as you go through your day and you collect your own trash, like your plastic bottles, the wrappers of your food items and so on, you put them into those bags and then take them home to your hotel, where you can then dispose of them. Or if you come by a combini, some of them have trash cans, you can just dispose of your trash there. But there are no trash cans anywhere, except on the Shinkansen, which is very interesting. They do have their own trash cans. But in spite of this, the streets are absolutely clean. Nobody litters. First of all, you have to pay if they catch you. And secondly, in Japan, people abide by the rules. And so you're not allowed to throw away your trash. So don't do it either. Hold on to your receipts, hold on to anything, all of the bits and pieces and bobs that you acquire during the day, and just put them into the trash bin when you are in your hotel. Public toilets, very important. They are omnipresent and they are super clean and free of charge. And we never once came across a non-Western only toilet anywhere. When I was in Japan last, in 2008, I was in a different area. I was in Hokkaido, and I remember climbing a hill, and there were toilets there, but they were non-Western toilets. Now, non-Western toilets are actually nothing but a hole in the ground with some ceramic around it. So you really want to think about if you want to use them, especially for the ladies. It's not my thing. But we didn't find any non-Western only toilets. We found mixed toilets and we found Western only toilets. And you can find them anywhere, and they are usually extremely clean, super clean. Even like the smallest shrine in the middle of nowhere has a toilet with a cleaning schedule where somebody came in and basically said, yes, I cleaned this toilet at such and such a time. And of course, they are free of charge. By this stage, smoking has been largely banned. It was different in 2008 and 2006 when I was there last. I remember smelling smoke everywhere, especially since I'd been living in Ireland for several years at that stage already, where smoking in public is completely banned, and in public buildings it's completely banned. When you are a non-smoker yourself and you're not basically exposed to smoke at all anywhere, and then you go into a country where it seems like everybody keeps smoking, all the men at least seem to smoke everywhere, you're assaulted by fresh smoke, but also cold, stale smoke in hotels. Nothing like that. We had non-smoking rooms in our hotels, but also the hotels themselves were non-smoking. So essentially, there was no stale smoke anywhere. But also, in the restaurants and cafes, you're not allowed to smoke anymore. You're not allowed to smoke in the streets. That's very important. That's banned. And if you do, they will fine you. So for the smokers amongst you, you have to make adjustments and allowances for this. Some cafes and some restaurants do have smoking rooms, or kind of like, they look like, I mean, to me, they look like aquariums. It's like a glass booth where you can go in and have a smoke and then come out again. But smoking is now largely banned. Contrary to something you might have heard on the internet, tattoos are no longer a problem. These days, even Japanese people have them, maybe in the younger age group, but you don't have to be a yakuza to get a tattoo these days. However, so basically, if you have a tattoo, you're allowed to show it. It's not a problem. Nobody will frown upon it. You, even if you have Asian type tattoos, which are usually associated with yakuza, like for example a dragon or something, if you're Western looking, it won't be an issue for you. The only thing that will happen to you in places, and I'm not sure if it will happen in all places, but it's something that you have to be aware of still, you may not be allowed into an onsen unless you cover your tattoo. But just having one and also showing it is not a problem anymore. Convenies, convenience stores like 7-Eleven, Lawson's, Family Mart are good places where you can get your snacks, such as onigiri, which are Japanese rice balls, which are either filled or not filled. I mean, I usually sometimes just took the salted rice version. Sometimes, or mostly, they will be wrapped in plastic, of course, so more trash for you to take away. But also sandwiches of all types, drinks, water, anything. I mean, you can get even simple cosmetics, scissors. It's basically your one-stop shop for all your basic needs. They're usually open 24/7, and you can get everything and anything there. You can even sometimes get bento boxes with sushi in them. And that's basically where we would usually go to get our lunch. Between 11:30 and 1 p.m., people will go for their working lunch, and queues will form outside of restaurants. So don't be surprised, because that's also where Japanese people take a hot meal. So if you are somebody who has their main meal at lunchtime, let's say 11 to 12, 11 to 1 o'clock, that's also where you can get your lunch. And sometimes restaurants will only open for lunch and then open again at, let's say, 1700 hours for evening dinner. And you can find great restaurants in shopping malls and big train stations. And they are very varied in what they offer. The type of food can be Western. We went to a French bistro on our first night in Tokyo Station. They can also be very Japanese. We went to a ramen place one time in, I want to say, Kyoto Station. We went for dinner in the Sky Tree City, which is more like a shopping mall, where we had a Japanese dinner. And the food is really excellent. I mean, I'm not talking about your dingy, kind of like Irish train station sort of restaurant takeaway thingy. They are real restaurants, even sushi bars, where you can get excellent food at competitive prices. But you can expect to either have to queue or even draw a number and then wait in line for a seat, depending on the restaurant you're going to, because they are really busy. Now, that's all from me, because this is almost 30 minutes at this stage. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. If you have any tips for people traveling to Japan, please share them in the comments. Talk to you soon. Bye.